All right, good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to Sunday School. This week we are continuing in the book of Psalms. We're going to be reading another psalm together. You might remember that we talked about the book of Psalms being written by a bunch of different authors. Last week we looked at a psalm that was written by King David, and it was a really famous psalm, right? Psalm 23, and a lot of you guys probably knew some of the verses from that psalm, or you've heard it before. It's a really good one to know when you're feeling scared or you're feeling worried. It's one that I know that I use to remind me of what's true about God, that He cares for us, that He is our shepherd. This week we're reading another psalm, but it's by a different author. I'm going to show you a picture to give you a clue about who the author of this psalm is. This is a statue of Moses. It's in a town named Copenhagen. Who do you think wrote Psalm 90? It's Moses, right? Moses wrote a prayer to God in Psalm 90. And remember, the book of Psalms is a collection of prayers and praises that people wrote to God, songs, prayers, things that people wrote about God and to God and for God. Praying sometimes seems really hard. I don't know about for you guys, but sometimes I go to pray to God and I just don't even know what to say. It's hard to know how to talk to God or what I want to say to Him or what I want to talk to Him about. The great thing about the book of Psalms is that we can use it to help us pray when we don't know how. We can use the words in the book of Psalms to help guide us and to help us to pray to God when we just don't know what to say. We know that our God is eternal. That means He lasts forever. The things that were true about Him when the book of Psalms was written are the same things that are true about Him now, that when we are praying to Him. So the words of God that were written about God then are the same. They're true now because our God is eternal. He is the same forever and ever. We will learn more about that after our time of worship.
We trust in you, Jesus. You're all that we need. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. You give us hope and life that's forever. You make us bold and we stand together. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. We're off on this journey, there's no looking back. With Jesus to lead us, we're on the right track. Oh, 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 oh. Wide open spaces for wide open eyes. We're looking ahead for the next big surprise. Oh, 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 oh. We trust in you, Jesus. You're all that we need. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. You give us hope and life that's forever. You make us whole and we stand together. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. We're off on this journey, there's no looking back. With Jesus to lead us, we're on the right track. Oh, 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 oh. Wide open spaces for wide open eyes. We're looking ahead for the next big surprise. Oh, 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 oh. We trust in you, Jesus. You're all that we need. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. You give us hope and life
All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to hop into our reading this morning. We're going to be reading Psalm 90, the whole thing. It's kind of a medium length psalm. It's 17 verses. Miss Becky is going to read that for us. While she's reading, I want you to either follow along in your Bibles, or if you don't have your Bible handy, that's okay. I want you to listen to what she reads to you from the book of Psalms, from Psalm 90. And I want you to think while she's reading about what that psalm says about God. What is the psalm telling us about God? And also, what is the psalm telling us about ourselves? Like, what is it teaching us about how we are in relation to God? So those are the two things I want you to be listening for when Miss Becky is reading. What does the psalm tell us about God? What does it tell us about you? All right, we'll be back for our lesson in a minute.
Psalm 90. From everlasting to everlasting, a prayer of Moses, the man of God. Lord, you have been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. You return man to dust and say, Return, O children of man, for 1,000 years in your sight are but as yesterday when it is past, or as a watch in the night. You sweep them away as with a flood. They are like a dream, like grass that is renewed in the morning. In the morning it flourishes and it is renewed. In the evening it fades and withers. For we are brought to an end by your anger. By your wrath we are dismayed. You have set our iniquities before you, our secret sins in the light of your presence. For all our days pass away under your wrath. We bring our years to an end like a sigh. The years of our life are 70, or even by reason of strength 80. Yet their span is but toil and trouble. They are soon gone, and we fly away. Who considers the power of your anger, and your wrath according to the fear of you? So teach us to number our days, that we may get a heart of wisdom. Return, O Lord. How long? Have pity on your servants. Satisfy us in the morning with your steadfast love, that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. Make us glad for as many days as you have afflicted us, and for as many years as we have seen evil. Let your work be shown to your servants, and your glorious power to their children. Let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us, and establish the work of our hands upon us. Yes, establish the work of our hands.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the story picture for this morning, and I'll summarize the passage that Miss Becky just read for you, and we'll talk about it a little bit. One day, Moses wrote a prayer to God. Lord, you have been our refuge day after day, year after year. You created the world. You have always been around, and you will always be around because you are God. People live and die according to your plan. For you, 1,000 years is like a day or a few hours. Our lives are like grass that grows in the morning and dries up at night. You know all our sin, even the ones we think are secret. Nothing is hidden from you. Teach us to understand how important our days are so that we can grow in wisdom. Moses ended his song to God by asking for compassion. Give us your faithful love so we can shout with joy and be glad. Let your favor be on us and tell us the work you want us to do. All right, so do you guys know how many hours we have in a day? Both waking and sleeping. We have 24 hours in our day. But how many hours does it say sounds like 1,000 years to God? It says that our whole lives are just like moments to God. It says our lives are like we are born in the morning and we die in the night. That's what our life is like to God. So time has no meaning to God because it has not no meaning. It has a different meaning to God because he is eternal. He is the same forever and ever. I don't know about you, but it feels like my days are really busy. Like I get up in the morning and I do a bunch of stuff, and then when I go to bed at night, I'm tired. I feel like I've done a lot in my day. But in Psalm 90 verse 12, it tells us that we should be careful with our days, right? That our days are a gift from God and we need to be careful not to waste them. We need to use them to help us to grow in wisdom and to help us to grow to be more like God. So that means that when we are deciding what to do with our time, that we are very careful and we are wise about what we choose to do. We need to make wise choices about what to do with the time that God has given us because it's a gift he has given us. And I know I told you many times before that God has a specific purpose for your life. Moses' prayer that Miss Becky just read reminds us to be thankful to God for what he has given us. It tells us to ask God to be faithful to help us in the plan that he has for us. Remember, again, God is eternal. That means he is forever. He is the same forever. He has always been, he always will be. And the great thing about that is that we can always go to him when we need help or we need direction in our lives because he is always there and he is always ready to listen to us. All right, now we're going to head to Mr. Joel for Explore the Bible time.
Everyone goes through tough times. We will all experience pain and suffering in this life. Going through pain and suffering doesn't always mean we have sinned or done something wrong ourselves. Pain and suffering are in our world because our world is broken by sin. So, what can we do when we go through hard times? We can lament. What does lament mean? To lament means taking your sadness to God, talking about your sadness with God, and trusting God to be with you through the difficult time.
Whoa, this is awesome. Hey, turn in your Bibles to Psalm 90. This Psalm of Lament was written by Moses. Today, we're talking about sharing our pain with God, trusting in him when things are really hard. You want to know why? Because God is faithful. He is, he always has been, he always will be. Today, we are in the Illuminated Manuscripts exhibit at Museum of the Bible. This place is so cool. I'm Joel. This is Explore the Bible on Location. And I can't believe all the colors they get to use in these Bibles. Look at that.
King David went through tough times. Saul treated him badly, his son Absalom betrayed him, and the Philistines were always wanting to fight him. Moses went through hard things. Everyone goes through hard things. So what did these people do in tough times? They lamented. But did they just get sad and worried? No. They wrote about their difficulties and used lamenting as a way to trust God during the painful things they were experiencing.
This is amazing. Today, we are in the Illuminated Manuscripts exhibit at Museum of the Bible. Now, you might be thinking, what's an illuminated manuscript? Well, let's start with manuscript. That's a copy from the Bible written by hand. Illuminated means that people made these manuscripts into works of art. What makes them so special? Well, first, it's copies of the Bible or huge sections from the Bible written by hand. Have you ever made a poem book or a picture book or your own comic book and you wrote it all by hand? It's really hard to keep it all clear. Second, they would make these manuscripts all pretty and beautiful, and what made them so valuable is that people wrote them in a day when lots of people didn't have Bibles like we do today, so they were very special. They were considered some of the most beautiful works of art in the world. I need to look at that. Wow. This right here is an illuminated Psalter from Spain. Psalter? What does Psalter mean? Is that something that comes out of a salt shaker? No. The Psalter is the collection of the 150 Psalms. Collection of Psalms equals Psalter. And this is an illuminated Psalter made in the 1400s. This is a handwritten manuscript of all 150 Psalms. And then what makes it illuminated are all these cool artistic designs, like the green and the blue and the red. So cool. Nice. This is a Slavonic gospel book. Here's what that means. An artist makes hand-painted pictures of the different authors of the Gospels. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. When you see that gospel author's picture, like Matthew, then you see a handwritten excerpt from the Gospel of Matthew. If you see John, you see a section from John. It's so pretty. I can't believe he painted those without a tracing. Wow. This is the Hours in Psalter of Elizabeth de Boon. This was written in the 1300s. That's really old. This is a collection of prayers and devotionals from the Bible and an entire written collection of the Psalms, or the Psalter. Here's what's crazy. That does not look written by hand. That looks like it was printed from a computer, like someone typed it and printed it off. Plus, all that gold artwork is made with real gold leaf. This is by far the most valuable illuminated manuscript in the museum. Amazing. It is so cool seeing all of these artifacts in this museum. Let me give you guys an example of lamenting. Imagine you scraped your knee really bad while you were playing outside. What's the first thing you do? You run to your mom or your dad or an adult, right? Now, is the first thing that they say to you gonna be, "Rejoice! You have found yourself in a trial"? Probably not. Are they gonna say first, "Now what can we learn from this"? Probably not. Their first questions are gonna be, "Are you hurt?" and "What happened?" Then you tell them about what happened and the pain you're in. Next, you have to trust them. You have to be okay with them putting the stingy stuff on your cut and then the bandage on top. You have to trust them and let them help you to heal. And that's kind of like what lamenting is. You're telling God what happened. You're expressing to Him your honest grief and you're letting Him help you. You see, God will be with you through it all, even the hardest parts of life, because God is eternal. You can trust that He loves you, that He'll comfort you, and He will direct you into healing. And that's what we discover when we dig into the book of Psalms. I'm Joel. This is Explore the Bible on Location, and I'm going to go practice my illuminated manuscript skills. But first, I got to learn me some Latin. So I'm going to go see if anyone around here can teach me.
Hi everyone! So in today's lesson we looked at Psalm chapter 90. So if you can flip there real quick one more time, I want us to look specifically at Psalm 90 verse 14. And it says, "Satisfy us in the morning with your steadfast love, that we may rejoice and be glad all our days." Basically, we would love to be joyful, right? And so for our activity today, you need white paper and then crayons, markers, colored pencils, whatever you use to draw. And what I want you to do is I want you to take a color, doesn't matter what color, and I want you to write joy on the piece of paper. A big joy. That's it. Just write joy. My Y is a little short. That's okay. And then what I want you to do is I want you to think and I want you to draw or write down things that give you joy. So let's see. Things that give me joy. Sun. When I see the sun, it gives me joy. So I'm going to do a little sun. Right? What else gives me joy? My family brings me joy, so I can draw my family. I don't really have many color choices. My family, there's my dad, my mom, me, my brother and sister. I'm gonna do stick figures because I am not a good drawer. I'm not good at drawing. Okay. I will draw the rest of them later, but you can see my family's right here. What else brings me joy? Food. Food brings me joy, like pizza. I could go for a good pizza right now. Pepperoni to be exact. I love my pizza. Let's draw some pizza with some cheese on it. Can't forget my pepperonis. Oh no, I don't have a red. I'll just use a red crayon. That's okay. My little pepperonis. There you go. There's my pizza. And I just want you to draw things that bring you joy. Dinosaurs bring me joy. Dinosaurs bring me great joy. My phone case has dinosaurs on it. I just love dinosaurs. But anyways, things that bring you joy, I want you to write it down or draw it out and make it like a joy collage. That's your activity for this week, and I hope you have so much fun doing it and just have fun thinking of things that bring you joy. I'll see you guys next week.